Alright, I skipped forward while finishing up this area of the model. Now we want to move on to the last remaining modeling work that we have left to do, and that is to apply geometry to these individual components that we added inside the sculpt workspace. So to do that, I'm going to hide all of these Retopo meshes to get them out of the way, and I'm also going to hover over the voxel object that I actually want to select. I'm going to hit the H key, and it's going to select that object. Let's try the LCD screen first, and I'll hide everything else by holding down the Alt key and clicking on the visibility icon. And I'm just going to run Auto-Retopo on these. It does a very good job with anything that's relatively primitive in shape, and if it's somewhat complex, you may have to add some stroke guides, but in this case we're just going to sprint right through this. So I'll go with 200. Okay, and I'll just skip through each of these. I've got some leftover residual strokes, so I'll clear those and I'll click next. And before I move on to the others, I'm just going to step over into the UV section here, hold down the Shift key, and create one single scene, and that's it. You notice Auto-Retopo created a Retopo mesh layer for me. So I'll hide that, hide the LCD, unhide the small buttons, and we'll do the same thing with these. Right click on that layer, Auto-Retopo. This time I'll change it. Let's go 1200. Hit OK. I'll just skip through each of these steps. Did a fair job, but I'm going to have to use the brush tool on this one. I can reduce the opacity. Okay, and we'll do the same thing. Shift key, and we're done. I'd previously created a UV set, but you can add a new UV set and name it. But I'll switch to that and hide these. And now we'll switch to this knob. I'll right click, Auto-Retopo, and we'll stick with the same amount of polygons. Capture details, hit OK. Next. Okay, you did a pretty good job, but overall, for our purposes, this should do fine, but I want to clean this part here up. So I'll go to the select tool and select faces. Okay, and switch to edges. Use my bracket keys to reduce my brush size. Just select one edge, edge loop, and let's try relax. Switch to vertices. So let's expand that. I'll undo a few times. Okay, and hit escape. Split rings. Okay. Okay, and so let's use the transform tool. Auto fit in local space if you want to make repeated use of the transform tool. That way each time you come back to it, it will automatically be oriented correctly. So to fix it now, I can just hit main axis. But this auto fit in local space, what this does is it prevents you from, even though you can use main axis to orient it locally, this prevents you from having to click this each time. So yeah, let's scale her on in and hit escape to drop the tool. Escape one more time to drop the selection. Maybe split rings. And now let's cap it. Okay, and select one more time. Let's go vertices. Select that metal vert and expand. Now let's relax. Escape. Looks good. Okay. So what we want to do now again is mark seams. I'll create a seam there. Anytime you have a mesh that is not completely clean, like this one on the back side, I don't have a straight edge loop right down the back side. What you can do is use UV path, and this is kind of a point-to-point seam selection, but it's very, very flexible. So what I'll do is I'll select this one and just kind of walk it around, and then you can go back if you want and make changes. Just click that point and drag it, and 3D Coat will reevaluate the path and try to provide the shortest route. So like this one, I can do the same thing here. Drag it all the way in. Once I have the preview that I like, I'll hit enter and it creates a seam for me. So I can completely drop the path totally. If I see a little pink dot, it's letting me know that this tool is still active. So to get out of it, just hit the escape key and it drops it. Now let's go mark seams, hold down the shift key, and we can unhide our other objects. So with all those selected, I'm going to move those LCD buttons, LCD, okay, and then the knob, okay. So mark seams, and I'll choose Unwrap, and there we go. I don't like how it packed it. There we go. It's a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the playback while I rearrange the furniture here on my UV map. Alright, I'm almost done here, and once I finish the UVs, we're going to stop the video and pick up in the next one where we're going to replace the paint room mesh with a newly modified Retopo mesh that we have here. Then once we're done, we're going to bake a new normal map from all of our sculpting edits, and we're going to complete this series. So stay tuned and thank you for watching.